Hi, Joe Bonnier from FastPitchPower.com. In this video, I'm going to show you some self-administered strategies to help softball pitchers manage minor hip pain throughout the competitive season. For these exercises, you're going to need a foam roller or some kind of self-massage rolling tool, a lacrosse ball or a brand new tennis ball, and maybe a mat for stretching and some strengthening exercises. I'm going to get right into these exercises. The first thing we're going to do is try to cool down the large group of muscles in the front of our thigh, quadriceps and hip flexors, which may be referring pain into the hip. With your foam roller or foam rolling type device, you're going to lay on it. Now, I've shown you foam roll routines before where we just kind of warm up the muscles by rolling at a medium pace up and down along the length, inside and outside of the muscle. For this exercise, I want you to start in the middle of the muscle, on that muscle belly, and I just want you to relax. Try to get as much body weight of your body weight into the foam roller, okay, working your way very slowly up toward the hip pocket. So I'm in the middle of my quadricep right now. I would end up into the hip pocket. Now, again, just letting my body relax. If you feel at any point along that muscle an area that's a little bit more uncomfortable or tender, that's when you're going to spend a little bit more time until you've gone up and down the muscle maybe 2 or 3 times. You want to do both sides, even if you have one side that's more affected than the other. Okay, using your foam roller or self-massage rolling tool, you're going to go very slowly, allowing a lot of your body weight to relax into the roller, into the device, okay, trying to calm those muscles down along the front of your thigh. That's the first exercise I want you to do. Again, spend 3-4 minutes on that component. Next, you're going to take your lacrosse ball or new tennis ball, which is dense enough for this, and put it on the outside of your hip. You should be on tissue, on muscle. Okay, you can kind of feel the rim of your pelvic bone. Here, you're going to go about 3 inches below, and if I were to draw a line straight out from my hips, this ball is going to be slid slightly to the outside. That's where you're going to pin this lacrosse ball. Again, we're looking for tender spots into the front or outside of the hip. Okay, you can kind of roll around to see if there's any specific point that's a little bit more tender, and once you find it, and it's a common area where athletes will get tight. Once you find it, okay, you're going to allow your body to kind of melt into that lacrosse ball. You roll around, try to cool that muscle off. Again, relax into the lacrosse ball until you feel this position is a little bit more tolerable, okay, and then switch sides. I want you to see as well if there is a difference between, say I'm having some hip pain as a pitcher in my drive leg on my right side. I want you to see the difference in soft tissue or muscular quality or sensitivity between sides of the affected leg and the non-affected leg. But you should be doing both sides anyways for general health reasons. Okay, the second position, or the third thing we're going to do after the foam roller, after attending to our hip flexors in the front of our hip, is we're going to go into the back pocket. In this position, you're going to sit on it. So now I'm going to be on the back outside of my hip. I was on the front outside of my hip. We're going to be in the back outside of my hip, where my back pocket on shorts or pants would be. I'm going to sit on the foam roller or on the lacrosse ball. In this position, now this position might be sensitive enough. What I want you to do is draw very small circles, and I guarantee no matter who you are, you're going to be sensitive in this area. There's a lot of layers of muscle there that aren't necessarily, we don't really attend to often enough, and stretching really doesn't do the trick. Okay? Now, once you melt into that lacrosse ball, you can open up that hip even more by crossing your leg over and rolling around. Open up the back pocket of the hip and roll around on that lacrosse ball. Again, you don't have to be too technical with this. As long as you're not rolling, you don't feel as though you're rolling on bone. And again, this should be a massage type of discomfort. Okay, again, going to the figure 4 position, rolling around. And again, I want you to do both sides. So, both legs. So we have our foam rolling or our rolling, quadriceps and hip flexors, lacrosse ball or tennis ball, the hip flexor, lacrosse ball or tennis ball, the deep hip rotators. Next, I want you to do one stretch, okay, for muscles on the upper inside of the thigh, the groin, that again we often don't attend to. We spend a lot of time stretching hamstrings, cranking on quads. This next exercise is going to be a Spider-Man, and hopefully I can get in a good position here so you understand how to perform this correctly. From the front, if I was on one knee, my head, shoulders, and knee are going to be kind of in a line. They're going to be stacked over one another. I'm going to move my front leg out to the side a little bit. Okay. I'm going to put my hand, my fingertips and my toes are even with each other. I'm going to put my elbow inside my knee, and I'm going to pry my knee out outside my foot. Now, I want you to watch that my big toe and my inside of my foot does not come up off the ground. In fact, I want you to focus on crushing the ground, pushing down evenly with the entire foot as you pry the knee out outside the foot. So drive the knee out, but as you do, crush the ground. So you get something under your big toe, something under the arch, to the inside of the heel. Crush the foot down, pry the knee out. From the side, you'll see the position I'm in here. Okay? On one knee, foot bias out about 6 inches. Fingertips and toes align with each other. Take my elbow, push the knee out, push the inside of the foot down into the ground as I do this. I'm pressing my hips here down into the ground as well. You can focus on pushing that front foot into the ground as you pry the knee out. Hold. Again, 5-10 seconds. 5 to 10 second hold, 3 to 5 times, switch legs. And I want you to notice the difference between the affected and non-affected leg, if there is. Again, you should be doing both sides for general health purposes. Foam rolling, Spider-Man stretch, and then we get into some basic isolation, strengthening exercises for the smaller muscles around the hip. Much like you would want to focus on the rotator cuff, which are small muscles around the shoulder, which affect and contribute to shoulder stability and overall shoulder health. Your hip has a rotator cuff as well, has a team of small muscles that contribute to stability and alignment. Okay? First exercise is going to be a clamshell. From the front here, if I were to start by lying on my side, now you have to trust that I'm in a straight line from my head all the way through my heels. I'm going to bend my knees and bring my knees forward. From the top view, my knees would be at 90 degrees. My feet in this exercise are going to stay together. See, the inside of my feet are together. I'm not turning my toe up toward the ceiling. Another landmark here to ensure you're doing this correctly. If you were to draw a line or hold, maybe you can have a coach or a parent, hold a bat along the front of your knees. Just put a bat right here or something. Stick, it could be anything. Do this against a wall. Okay? Do not pull this top leg back. Okay, so you don't want to open up. You have to imagine maybe it's your water bottle or a hot cup of coffee right here on the top of your hip. So as I perform this clamshell exercise, I'm driving my knee up toward the ceiling. It is not a big range of motion when you're doing it correctly. I can very easily just open up and do this all day and not really feel it in the smaller muscles that contribute to rotation and control of the hip. Okay. Hot cup of coffee on my hips, knees in line with each other. Drive this top knee to the ceiling without opening up your body. Hold, 1, 2, and down. Inside of the feet stay together. Hold, 1, 2, and down. 98% of your body is remaining very still, and that's as important as what's moving. Okay, if you focus on everything else that's supposed to remain still, you're going to feel this in the outside or backside of your hip. 10 to 12 reps, 3 sets on each side. That's clamshell. Second exercise, the bottom leg straight leg raise. I'm going to start. Trust that my body's in a straight line from my head, my hips, and my heels. I'm going to cross my top leg over. Okay? Here in this position, that bottom heel has to be in line with my ear, if not slightly behind my ear, or it feels like it's slightly behind my ear. Do not let the foot slide forward. Okay, parents, coaches, teammates, make sure your athlete is in a straight line from the head, hips, and the heel. You're going to take that bottom leg up off the ground. Again, not a big range of motion if the rest of the body is remaining stable. Bottom leg straight leg raise. We have clamshell, bottom leg straight leg raise. Again, all these smaller exercises, 8, 10, maybe 12 reps. You don't need very many if your athlete's doing them correctly. If they're not doing them correctly, they can do a ton, they won't feel anything. The last exercise, I'm going to use my PVC here. You can use your foam roller. You can double up some pillows if you're at home. Last exercise is going to be reverse clamshell. Okay. Want to put something between. You're going to get into our clamshell position. So from a straight line, you're going to bring your knees forward at 90 degrees. Put something between your knees, and you're going to focus now on taking the heel up toward the ceiling and down. The heel up toward the ceiling and down. Now, it's just from a coaching perspective or a parenting perspective, all right, you have to make sure your athlete isn't compensating elsewhere in the body. Okay, so I'm not using my lower back or my belly to get that foot up in the air. That they're keeping a straight line from their head through their hip, and nothing is really moving. They're not compensating anywhere. They're just getting motion at the hip. Even if they have a little bit, just any, okay, they're probably doing it more correctly if they have less range of motion and they're feeling it in the right area. If you see them just kind of kicking their leg up and not focusing on what muscles to be using, they're not going to get anything out of it. Okay? 3 strengthening exercises. Clamshell, 8 to 12 reps. Bottom leg straight leg raise, 8 to 12 reps. And then that reverse clamshell with something built up in between the athlete's knees. These are not exercises to fix a hip that deserves the attention of an orthopedic or a physical therapy specialist. These are warm-up and kind of preventative exercises for athletes who are pushing through pain, who have hip pain but might be able to push through a game. These exercises should help you last or be in less pain, okay, throughout the season or throughout those long tournaments. Again, if you're in debilitating pain that doesn't allow you to get through a practice or a pitching lesson, okay, you need to see an orthopedic specialist. For more questions, send me an email, leave a comment below this video on YouTube or on the Fast Pitch Power website. Thanks for watching.